The number one question I get asked is, what do I make on my CNC to sell? And after hearing how much these videos have been helping people get new ideas and inspiration, here's another one. Except in this one, I want to focus on products that we can make and sell specifically this fall at craft markets. Last year, I sold just over $20,000 from now until the end of the year, attending 5 markets. I love making and selling at this time of year because there are so many opportunities. It takes work, of course, but by adding your own twist to the projects I'm about to share with you, I believe that these can be some of your best sellers during the upcoming holiday rush. But before I share these 5 inspirational CNC projects with you, how exactly to make them, and the sales and pricing strategies behind each one, I've got some really exciting news to share with you. My CNC Side Hustle course is now open for enrollment. We had 157 students in the first class, and I'm blown away to hear how the course has impacted these students' side hustles. What if you could start a side hustle that pays you to enjoy your CNC hobby? For a limited time, you can save $400 on the full course price. Click the link in the description to learn more. All right, project number 1 is this mini Trebuchet, and it actually works. So I saw this project at the Kentucky State Fair, and I thought it was really, really cool. And instantly, when I see these types of things, I'm like, how could I make that? So to make this, I would use any solid wood, but not plywood. With the small parts of this, the base was about 4 inches by 4 inches. So to give you an idea on scale, these parts are really small. You could scale it up infinitely, obviously. But to make this specific one, which I kind of like the miniature aspect of this trebuchet. So any solid wood would work: pine, poplar, oak, something along those lines. So it may seem complicated to make, but honestly, if you look at this and break it down into individual shapes, you have about 6 shapes, 7 shapes that you need to create. The 2 trapezoids on the side, which just has pinholes for the wheels, and then a pinhole to hold the, let's just call it the arrow mechanism. 4 wheels, and then they're just really straight pieces that connect those 2 trapezoids together. And then we're not going to create the dowels. Those are easily bought locally or online on Amazon. I bought 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch dowels for pretty cheap. So the most challenging shape to make on this is going to be that arrow launching mechanism. But if you look at the shape, it's really just a T, which we can make a T in CAD pretty easily, with some, on the outer edge with a little bit of a round. It looks like a crossbow, right? So we're making a crossbow shape. So you can easily assemble this with CA glue and then stain it. That's the process to make this. So there's gonna be a prototyping process anytime that you're creating something for the first time. But the cool thing about CAD software is once you create that product, or once you create that file, you can use it over and over and over again to create the products. That's how we'd create it. So how are we going to sell this, right? Because what's the point of making something to sell if it doesn't sell? So first, why is this going to sell? I mean, come on. The fact that it actually works, right? People love miniature things that are usually on a huge scale, but it actually is functional. So that's a really, really neat thing. And I believe it's an attention grabber at craft fairs. I can see having this out at the end of the table at the craft fair, attention grabber. Maybe you have, you're out there and you can demonstrate it. I think that'll really pull people in. This product makes a really cool gift for kids and adults. I picture my son loving to play with it. He's 3 years old, but also an adult playing with it. You know, you can picture this in a kid's room, but you can also picture this on an executive's desk, or your desk at work, just as a conversation piece. So a lot of versatility when it comes to gifting, which is a really, really good thing when it comes to sales. It appeals to a lot of people. I think you price these as something that's really accessible. I'd say $25 to $35 based on my experience in my area. Again, I'm in Kentucky. Now, if you live out in California, maybe that's a different market price, right? Here's a secret for you. If you really want to make money with your side hustle, price according to what someone is willing to pay for it, not what you have into it. Value is perceived, so the higher the perceived value, the more someone is willing to pay for it. Project number 2 are these serving boards and holders. So everybody makes serving boards, right? Even if you cut out unique shapes, it's been done. And there's a lot of it out there. But what I haven't seen before is this really, really unique way to hang them on the wall. That's really seamless, looks really modern, but it's basically serving boards just with one extra piece. So let's walk through how we design this. I would make this out of any hardwood. This particular one looks like it's made from walnut, some beautiful walnut. All right, so to make this, first let's think about the design. To design this in the software, we can break it down into shapes, right? There's 4 unique shapes here. So we just need to create the vectors of each shape and cut out with a 1/4 inch downcut bit with a profile toolpath. There's a trick though to pull this off and make it look so seamless. To get perfectly a tight fit from the handle and the holder, if you look, there is no gap. And that is what sets this off. And it's like, whoa, how is that possible? So to get this tight fit, the key is to cut the boards from different pieces of wood. So rather than gluing up one big panel and cutting all 4 shapes out of the same piece of wood, we need to cut this out of individual pieces of wood. So all 4 pieces, 4 different glue ups, and everything is a snug fit, right? Because if we just did one panel and put it down and cut all the individual 4 shapes out, the 3 serving boards and the holder, we would have a gap where the bit had to go through and cut out. Okay, so that's how we would make it. Obviously, you have to sand it and finish it, all that stuff. But why is this going to sell? So how do we sell this? This piece is striking to me. Like if you just look at it, it's a piece of decor, functional decor that hangs on the wall and is like, whoa. Can really set off a kitchen. The way the serving boards hang in place almost effortlessly, that's a tongue twister, effortlessly is what will stop people in their tracks to check it out. Imagine this hanging up, get this hung on a wall, hung up somehow at a craft show so people can visually see it in action. Is really good. Everyone makes and tries to sell cutting boards and serving boards, but this one definitely is in a league of its own. Price point. Now, this is going to be really interesting, but I price this based on my experience and based on my location at a local craft market. I would price this at $200 to $300. Now, you may think that's cheap or you may think that's expensive. Every market's different, like I said, but let's play out a realistic scenario. Add your own numbers in if you disagree, but let's play out a realistic scenario here. So say you made this out of walnut and the overall dimensions were 24 by 24 by an inch. That's the stock you started with. That's 4 board feet of walnut. At $10 per board foot, we would have $40 into wood. Figure an hour into labor, sanding, finishing, routing, all of that process. These are just rough numbers, but let's say you had $75 into making this board with your labor, materials, and wood. That's $125 to $225 profit. That is a fabulous profit margin. And it all has to do with just the simplicity, the modern look and design, and you're making 3 serving boards. What would you normally sell 3 serving boards for? $50 to $75 to $100 a piece. So I don't think $200 to $300 is out of the question here. All right, project number 3 is the baseball dice game. I think this is just a fantastic game, unique game for the baseball lover. How do we make this? Well, it looks like this one in particular is made out of poplar, but you could make this, I would just avoid pine. Pine just looks cheap, but you could make it out of pine if you wanted to. But I would say poplar or white oak would work well here. So steps to make it. Step number 1, we need to glue up a panel. That's roughly 16 by 16 by 3/4 of an inch. Really, it's just a panel. And for really complex designs like this, just buy them. There are so many files out there that don't try to recreate this. You could, if you have really good CAD skills, you could design your own. But I really just don't, like this is a lot of work. And for $5, I did a quick search on Etsy and there's several of these out there that you can purchase. Just make sure you read the terms of agreement if you're using someone else's design. And the other thing to look for is just make sure they have good reviews, because there are some junky files out there that everybody runs into. So I wouldn't just go for the cheapest, because there is such thing as a crappy file that's just gonna create headaches for you. So make sure it's one that's reputable and read the terms. But for $5, it's not worth your time typically to recreate something this intricate. All right, then we just need to add the border to it out of the same material we created the stock out of. And you can source the pegs and dice from Amazon to include with the game. Now, feel free, you could stain this, you could You could paint this beforehand. You could maybe put those green grass stripes somehow on there. There's a lot of different options here that you could do to really elevate this and create this. So you can look at this particular one. It says Happy Birthday Logan and the Colorado Rockies. So you can put, it's personalizable and put your favorite team on there. And this is really cool too, because there's no copyright things. You're just using text, right? You're not using team logos. So this is completely legit. I think this is going to sell well. One, it's a unique gift. Two, it's fun. It can be played over and over and over again. It's in a couple niches, baseball and games. I think that's a unique combination of the two things. It's kind of like baseball Yahtzee. Think about it like that. And it's highly giftable. People can easily picture grandkids, adults, any baseball fanatic. Travel baseball is massive. So I really feel like this can be a game that can bond people and play together as a family. It's a simple game. So a lot of fun to be had with friends and family. So how are we going to price this? I think we can price this at $45 to $55, targeting that $50 mark. But possibly more, depending on your area. But I think this is a great $50 gift. I kind of think about these price thresholds in my head. Like, you know, when we do this for the holidays, like, okay, I only want to spend $20 on a gift for this person, spend $50, spend $100. So I think this works here at $50. And the profit margin is there. It's enough. We're not using a lot of wood. Doesn't take a lot of time. So I think this is a great priced product. That will sell well. All right, so project number 4 is the simplest project on this list, and it's really easy to make. These are ghost lawn decor items that I've ran across several places. But again, I don't recommend making these exact things and selling them online. That is not a plan for success. Like, sell them locally. Sell them locally at craft markets. Take these ideas, tweak them, make them your own, and sell them locally. If you don't want to sell them at craft markets, you don't want to physically go and do that. I think this one will sell really, really well on Facebook locally as well. How do we make this ghost lawn decor? One, you just need a picture of a ghost. And then you need to trace the outline of it. And then you just need to create one profile toolpath and cut it out with a 1/4 inch bit. So here's the crux of this entire product. It's the material. Now, this particular one, the best product to make is use expanded PVC sheet. And I found some online here. And this particular one for 24 by 48 is $50. But this is what we want to use. So the key is going to be finding this one locally or buying it in bulk to get that price down, because it's pricey. It's pricey. If you got any other ideas of what material we could use that is rigid, sturdy, easy to machine, lightweight, can be outside, let me know down in the comments below. And there are a lot of websites with this particular material. It's just pricey. It's just, we got to get that price down. So it looks like this one where material costs could be higher, but our labor time is going to be lower, right? Like we'll put this on the CNC, cut the shape out, put some kind of back on it, some kind of stake. I think like those lawn stakes, and it's ready to go. So no sanding. It's just shape. You just cut it out and it's ready to go. So there is a play here. Let me know down in the comments if you know of a material that would work well here. All right, so how are we going to sell these? So Halloween is the most decorated holiday after Christmas. So the timing couldn't be any better. Right now is the time to sell these, and you can make them in any shape or size: ghosts, Frankenstein, bats, pumpkins. You could really make anything here, any shape. But I think you could sell a set, like this is kind of the model that I would go for. Sell a set of 3 for $50 or 1 for $25. Because I think they look better in sets, right? Rather than just putting one in the yard. These are smaller. If they're only 24 inches tall by 16 inches wide, I think that sets work better. So $50. So can we make a set for $50? That's the question. Not can we make it for $50, because obviously we want to make money. But does it work? Do the numbers work? And it's all gonna revolve around finding the right material at the right price. At the end of the day, I know that we can make this in 10 minutes or less. One tool path, really quick, no sanding, it's ready to go. Project number 5 is this wolf shelf. I love this one because, again, it's dual purpose. One, it's a piece of decor. It's really cool looking. And two, it's a shelf, so it's functional. So this is how I would make this. I would actually make it in 4 layers. Now, 3 of the layers are going to be the same material. I would use 3/4 inch MDF here. So the best way to explain this is, let's start from the top. So the face is going to be the outline. It's basically going to be 1 inch thick around the outside. The inside's going to be cut out. The tail's going to be solid. The feet are going to be solid. But basically, you're going to create the void. But you're going to put the engraving, like the trees and anything else. If you wanted to put a quote on this, something like that, you're going to put that on this face layer and engrave that. So the way you do this is paint first and then engrave. So you're removing the paint and you get that natural wood look. Okay, so that's the face. And then we're going to cut 2 layers of that MDF, same exact shape, just no engraving on the front, and 2 more layers of that. So that's layer 2 and layer 3, right? So what we're doing is we're creating the depth of our shelf. And then what we're going to do is take an 1/8 inch backer or 1/8 inch plywood or something along those lines and create a backer for this. So what we've created is we've created a 2 1/4 inch depth shelf. So we might need to add a 1/3. Again, I'm thinking about this off the top of my head right now. So add a 1/3 layer to get 3 inches of depth. So it'd be our top faceplate, 3 outlines of MDF. That would give us 3 inches with those 4 layers, and then our backer. That's the way I would do that. Now, to get the shelves, this is a really cool trick. What I would do is create slots where those shelves would slide in. And that's where we're going to slide our shelves into. But what we need to account for is that we're cutting them out with a round tool. So the corners are going to have a 1/8 inch radius on it from our bit, right? Our bit can't leave a perfect 90-degree corner unless you cut it with a laser. Different story. And our shelves are going to have square ends. So square peg into a round hole doesn't work. So what we need to do is take put an 1/8 inch round over on all the ends of our shelves, and those should match, right? Put your round over in, slide it in, and it should be a good fit that way. So how are we going to sell this? Well, I think this looks really, really neat sitting on a table at a craft fair and is eye-catching, right? Like, you don't see people make these types of things at craft fairs. One, it looks really, really cool as a piece of decor. People can have it in their bathroom. People could have it in their kitchen or in their dining room, living room, something like that. And they can store different things on it. So it's a piece of decor in itself, but it's also functional. I love products like that. It's multifaceted, right? It looks good, but you can also use it. So based on my experience and in my area, I would price this around the $75 mark. Again, you don't see this. People don't make these typically. Like, you buy this at the store. But the fact that you can make it and you're really going to be set apart from other craft fair vendors, and you're going to get the question. Be prepared to answer the question for this is, did you make that? Because you typically don't see that here in this setting. So I think $75 all day long, but I can see this going up to $100 or $125, just depending on your local market and where you're located. So which one of these project ideas do you think has the most potential and makes you the most excited? That's the one that you should make and create. Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're doing that, listen to what these CNC Side Hustle alumni have to say about their experience with the CNC Side Hustle.
You gave us all the tools that we would need to do that. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff that I had no clue.
The thing I got most out of it, or that I liked out of it the most, was the project ideas.
Business and economics and marketing aren't new to me. But what is new to me is doing it in a small business and doing it online. I've never done that stuff.
I was focusing more on the product and less on the business when I started. Being in business for 30 some years, I knew the business was important, but I also get driven into, I want to go create something else. It's the creativity part that wants to get me to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So I've got a roadmap As I tell my wife and my brother, who's kind of my, business partner, I need to just sit down and lay it all out.
The opportunities I feel like that open up and that I didn't even think about or would know, even reaching out to, realtors. It's just different avenues of like thinking, different ways to go about it.
Your course information was extremely helpful and also kind of gave me a different way of looking at things. So that was very, very valuable.
The insights and learn from mistakes that I made so that you don't have to make them.
It's just kind of not having to get over that hump on your own. And I'm like, some people will share it, freely on YouTube, but a lot of it is closely guarded secrets, because it's something that you've taken, that you've developed, that you've learned.
There was a lot of stuff that I had no clue. You know how long it probably took you to figure that stuff out. Maybe I would have gave up until that point. I'm sure that's what happens to a lot of people that can't figure it out and don't have all this information that you gave. It's like, you know what, this just isn't for me, and they can't figure it out.
Being a retired corporate executive, you have to move at pace and you have to keep people's interest. And you didn't keep dwelling and dogging on the same subject. You moved on.
You could tell you put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it. The detail that you went into was really good.
The layout of the course was pretty good. I liked that there was a video for each section, but then there was, some commentary to back it up to come back and look at. And then, obviously links to the things that were referred to in the video. Being a retired corporate executive, you have to move at pace and you have to keep people's interest. And you didn't keep dwelling and dogging on the same subject. You moved on.
I'll be watching and rewatching and taking notes on the video to, the different video modules to try and take that and take it to the next stage.
Where the heck am I going to get good material and stuff, and how am I going to sell it or market it? That's why I enrolled in your course.
I truly believe that there isn't a better way to learn how to make, market, and sell more of your CNC projects than the CNC Side Hustle. So if you want to fast track your success in your CNC Side Hustle, head to the link in the description below to learn more. If not, if that isn't you, no worries at all. You can check this video out right here to get even more project inspiration. Keep creating on your CNC, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.